Hey everybody, welcome back to Tim Travels. It's Terry, your host, coming to you from the global headquarters of Crime Inc. I know I look like a mess. I'm gonna get cleaned up here shortly. Finally made it to Springfield. So I was kind of waiting to get here to just like update everybody because it's been crazy. But so we got the load. We got that load, that one pallet back to Greeley, Colorado, which by the way is named after Horace Greeley. He's the guy that famously said, "Go West, young man." He was the editor-in-chief of, and the publisher, I think, probably of the New York Herald Tribune. It was a big newspaper back in the day. And he had visited Colorado like before, like in the 1850s. And Greeley was actually set up as like by one of Horace Greeley's underlings as kind of a utopian agrarian place. And yeah, so it's the 10th largest city in Colorado now. It's got over 100,000 people. But anyway, we got back there, and to add insult so first of all, so it's like few hundred pounds in the front of my trailer, right? We're going across, and then so it's nice to have a light load, except for when you're going through Wyoming in the flippin' winter. And it's winter, trust me on this. I've been through Wyoming 3 times, and every time snow. So we got in pretty hellacious, I don't want to call it a storm, but it was because it was just business as usual in Wyoming this time of year. But we probably had from basically Echo, Utah until we got probably 10 miles from Cheyenne, we were in some form of winter precipitation. So snow rain mix, just straight up heavy snow where they were plowing and stuff, and that's tough anyway. But when you basically have an empty trailer, you got no weight on your drives, it kind of sucked. But we just took it easy, got through, got to Greeley, and then instead of just being able to drop that stupid trailer, they're like, "Oh, back into this door." And then we back in like no one knows what we're there for. I go in, the guy signs for the stuff, and yeah, so they get that out, and then we had to bust it down to Aurora for a high value load. We get there and they're like, we're not sending any stuff to where you're going with that high value load. So we're kind of sitting there waiting, and then nothing came through, and I didn't think anything would. So I said, let's go to a truck stop, because I really wanted to take a shower and just get out of the truck for a little bit and kind of recoup. And lo and behold, and so we get there, and by this time it's like it's dark out. So this truck stop, this is Love's outside of Denver on 70. It's basically full. It's a freaking, by this point it's like a traffic jam in Times Square combined with a dumpster fire. But there's a spot open, except I knew other people were like going up and turning around to come in and do a driver, and backing on the left side. So I told Connie, I said, "Hey, you're just gonna pull up right here and I'm gonna help you get in the spot." So I basically said to Connie, "You're gonna blindside in this really tight truck stop into this spot." And she, of course, was a little, intimidated by that. And I'm yelling, because I was yelling over just the noise, but also just trying to convince her that I wouldn't let her crash the trailer into anybody. And we got in that spot finally, and people were honking. I'm like, "Don't, ignore them. So yeah, we got in the spot, and we get in the spot, and immediately we get a load, and they're like, "Hey, you want to get this load?" pick it up in Fort Dodge, Kansas, and bring it to Springfield. And mind you, I'm trying to get home because I got an oral surgeon appointment that I'm probably not going to make on Friday. So we're like, okay. And Connie had time left to drive, so she's like, yeah, let's go get it. Let's get it. And so she went in and grabbed a cup of coffee. She comes out. I'm like, okay, let's get out of here. And we had to air up one of the tires. And so we went back to the fuel island. And while we're like creeping along trying to get to the fuel island so I can air up a couple of the drives, I get a message from dispatch, right? And it's like, hey, I just need to find out if it's okay for you to drop this load at Springfield, because it's a load it's a load going down to Florida to Publix markets. And I was like, oh shit, because we're definitely not getting another parking spot at this truck stop. So if this doesn't go, yeah. So yeah, it was just kind of one thing after another. But so we get out there, the load was ready, so that was cool. We just dropped, hooked, and then by that time Connie was out of time, so I took over and drove us from Fort Dodge over here to Springfield. So that's our adventure. I'm gonna do my 10. I'm actually waiting in line here at the truck wash. I'm gonna get this washed. I already got the trailer fueled. I'm gonna drop it over here on the other side, and I'm gonna go in and get cleaned up and maybe talk to some people and get something to eat and get my 10 hours and probably get back on the road around midnight tonight, heading east for some home time that I'm definitely looking forward to. So anyway, that's what's going on with that. So real quick, I had a comment from somebody. So I did a video about basically calling out bad trainers at Prime. And I guess the corollary to that is that I feel like people that are good trainers, I should say there are people that are good trainers at Prime. I'd like to think I'm one of them. And I know there are lots of good ones. I had some people in my class, like I've said in the past, that I know will do a great job, just because you just kind of get the feeling about people. And I know some other people that are trainers at Prime, and I know they do a good job too. But the person that commented said, he called training a sacrifice. And in my previous life, I spent a lot of time thinking about words and their meanings and nuance and implication of the language I used. And I know that sounds dorky and it sounds like it's splitting hairs, and it definitely is wordsmithing, but that's what lawyers get paid to do. And it's an important part of that job, right? Like, words matter. And so when he used the word sacrifice, my reply was, I don't necessarily disagree with the premise that good trainers should be given, that there are good trainers at Prime, right? But the word sacrifice seemed a little strong to me. I mean, I think it is a little bit of perhaps an inconvenience when you have to share a space with somebody, but I don't know if I want to use the word sacrifice, because it's not like I give up, like I just turn my truck over to somebody. And candidly, I don't know that it's a sacrifice when you're getting paid to do it. It's like, I was in the military and I got paid to do that, and I have a pension because of that, and I got a lot of benefits. Now, if I'd have gotten killed while I was in the military, that would have been something I didn't sign up for. But everything else I pretty much signed up for, and I was compensated for it. Whether I was compensated enough, that's another debate. But the other thing I will say about people getting credit for being good trainers is, to me, that's the functional equivalent of wanting to be thanked for just doing your job. Because if you're a trainer, or if you're just a truck driver, right? Aren't we getting paid to do a good job? I mean, I can't imagine that any company hires anybody and says, look, we're going to pay you the same whether you do a crap job or a great job. So feel free to do a crap job. Like no one says that. I mean, it certainly happens, but no one says that. That's the first thing. The second thing is that all the trainers are volunteers, and I think that's good. But I think the best way for good trainers to feel like they're being given the credit they deserve is really to get rid of the bad trainers. I want to be in a group of people that are good at what they do. And I've said this before. I don't want to play on a losing team, right? Nobody, you know, like if I owned the Jaguar car company, I would sue the Jacksonville Jaguars just for sullying my name. If I represented a bunch of actual Jaguars, like in the wild, if for some reason they had a lawyer, I'd sue the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'd be like, you guys need to get a new mascot, like the three-toed sloth or something. You guys have won one game out of the past 21. My clients, who are large cats, they're predators, and they win most of the time, they're unhappy. They don't want to be on the side of your helmet. So I guess what I'm saying is I want to be a part of a winning team. I want to be a part of a team of, and if you want to, I think the word elite is overused, but it would be, you know, I guess elite. I don't know what percentage of people at Prime train, but I want to be part of that. You know, I want to be part of the best. You know, when my last duty station, when I was in the Navy, I was one of only 24 chief petty officers or senior chief petty officers that did what I did in the entire Navy. The selection process was really rigorous. And like I said, one of only 24 people in the entire U.S. Navy that did that job. So I'm used to doing it. I trained recruits. I was a recruit company commander. You know, I want to be part of the best. And so, you know, I don't think when a trainer does a good job, they need a pat on the back, because that's their job, and they're getting paid for it. But I do think if you're a trainer at Prime, or even if you're not, you should be concerned when you hear about trainers doing stuff that not only is like bad training methods, but is illegal or contrary to company, like fireable offenses. Like that's the antithesis of training. That's like, you know, I don't even know. It's like the training suppression team or something. It's like trying to make bad drivers, like going out of your way to create bad truck drivers. Like that's not good. That's no bueno for anybody, right? That's no good. So I hope that if you're a good trainer at Prime, you didn't feel besmirched by my previous video. And I hope that if you're a bad trainer at Prime, that you're trying to hunt me down right now. Like you're like, where is that guy? I want to punch him in the face. Because if you don't take pride in your job, I don't care what your job is, right? It doesn't matter if your job is blue collar. You know, my dad was a blue collar guy. And he always said, it doesn't matter if you're just digging ditches. Although no one, that's really old, because no one actually takes a shovel out there and does it. You know, they got those cranes. But you know, he always said, if no matter what you do a good job. And that's paid off. You know, there is a benefit to being that guy that does, or gal that does a good job. and I want to be associated with them. I want to be on a winning team. So if you want to be on a winning team, then what do winning teams do? They get rid of people that aren't part of the plan. They get rid of people that aren't like carrying their weight, or are causing problems, or are making the rest of the team look bad. So anyway, I share that with you. You know, we got a little home time. Connie's doing a couple things like I mentioned earlier. She's actually started getting some of her stuff off the truck. I told her, don't leave anything on my truck, because you never know what's going to happen. Like, my truck could get repoed. Who knows? But also, yeah, I'm going to go home, clean things up. It gets a little bit trash when you're running hard, so got some stuff to do. Anyway, I appreciate all of you. We busted through the 600 subscriber plateau, bubble, whatever you want to call it. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate all the viewers, all the comments. I look forward to talking with everybody, and yeah, let's just be safe out there, and catch you next time on Tim Travels. Bye.